Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy P Funk Thinking right out here in my lab where I do what I do, and I'm in the book. I had to switch up the little blue book for a minute. I'm going back home. I gotta get some knowledge from my Egyptian African religion, Theban theology. But I picked out a couple chapter 4, putting it all together. That means you have the mind and the elements of the human consciousness. God made the phrase, said the phrase, I became from God one to gods of three. I was one, I became three. That means everything he set forth after him came in pairs. That's the concept. Let's talk about it. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? Well, when I'm through, that's what I do. It's rhetorical. But if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do. For you, appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is spiritual sleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself and too. Might be true. We're going to deal with the mind and its origins first. It says here in chapters 1 and 3, we didn't read that, so we're going to bypass that. But in the volume of this book, we discuss at length the supreme wisdom to the macrocosm, which is the universe. That's what God controls also. But the mystical teachings that's related to the Trinity have been explored, and now we have seen how the divine self, God, has come into existence by uttering his own self and creating the universe, as well as human beings. Now, however, how does this consciousness operate from a practical point of view? We're still trying to figure out how this thing works with consciousness. How does the consciousness of the divine self work? The spirit, aka is God, it operates and manifests through the human personality. Spirit beings having the human experience to learn life lessons to go back to the maker constantly, or heaven, home, whatever you want to call it. Okay, but in this section, right here, chapter 4, we're going to begin to explore what? The mysticism of the human spiritual construction in a more detailed manner, meaning we're going to find out the mind and its origin. Okay? See the schematic here? This is spirit. This is the soul. It underlies what? Senses, the 5 senses first, the physical body, the outer ring. The second one is your intellect, the mind game right there. And the third one before is the unconscious mind. You got 3 states of mind according to my philosophy. I did the little book of wisdom. I went with their stuff. Now I'm doing my stuff. I'm back home. Let's talk about this right quick. But the mind is the mind, unconscious mind, to get to the soul. You got the unconscious mind, the conscious mind, or the subconscious mind, which is the intellect, and then you got the conscious mind, which is we in state right now. Let's talk about that right quick. So the questions of who is God? Remember that question? And where do human beings come from? Where were explored, these questions were explored in a unique way in the book of Egyptian yoga. which is my first Bible. I love that book. All right, it broke a lot of things down for you in the philosophy of enlightenment. Okay, so these ideas have been approached from a mystical view, reflecting our ancient Egyptian teachings of what we call mystical wisdom or the mystery systems, Egyptian mystery system, which was the first time, for the first time, that book is spawned the creation of the present volume, which delves even deeper into the heart of what we call mystical origins of life and how that wisdom may be understood and used how to discover and understand the true mysteries of life itself. The mystery is to be lived. To find out, you have to live it. To understand and unravel the mystery, you have to live it. And what is the mind? And what is its origin and purpose? I got here because I was in the other book here. We're doing the planes, the planes of consciousness. That's what I'm doing right here in the little blip. We're in the astral plane right now. I did the 7 planes. Now we're doing the astral, but I want to come here and break the monotony a little bit, give you my philosophy about the mind. I want to get that concept in. Where we at? What is the mind and what is the origin of the purpose? This volume will present an ancient Egyptian wisdom related to the mystical psychology. It will show how the sages of ancient Egypt understood and recorded the highest knowledge of all, self-knowledge, that which relates to what? The soul and the mind of all human beings, and their relationship to what we call the higher self, aka God. The goal is to know God for yourself, and we give you every opportunity, every story, every scenario we can run to get you to understand that for yourself. Let's go. Now, in the book of Egyptian Yoga, the philosophy of enlightenment, the hidden properties of matter, we explored the teachings related to the primeval ocean. They saw us the mind as the ocean, and from which God emerges using a thought, an idea from his or her mind. God is male and female, the original, okay? That's what he's saying, from his or her mind. This thought and the subsequent ones that occurred caused everything to appear in creation by the mere willing of the Supreme Being. When you're in your dream state, your mind goes right to whatever it is it sees, it can see, it goes right to it. That's the godliness in man. Man had the same power to do what? Create from a thought, manifest from an idea that came from what? Intellect, idea. Let's break the mind, let's break the circle down. I'm gonna break the circle down for you right quick. But it says here, above, you got a 2-dimensional schematic I showed you. And it's a drawing of the mystical interpretation of the levels of human consciousness. Ding, ding, ding. We call it consciousness. They call it planes of consciousness. Same thing, just put a little different. That's what I wanted to show you. That's why I'm doing this, to cross-examine the two concepts. They're really saying the same thing, just differently. I want to put this in effect to show you. What's this? So, the 2-dimensional mystical, and it's the human consciousness. It's based on the Trinity system of ancient Egypt. God being one and becoming 3, meaning after him, everything had a male and female concept. How about that? Moving on. But you have your unconscious, you have your intellect, and you have your mind, which is the senses. And the senses and the organs and the physical body constitutes. That's what we call your ego personality, your identification with who you are, the I and the I am of human beings. Your soul is eternal, while your ego is transient. The ego is the human part of man. The soul is the God part. The ego have to give in to the God part, work in harmony with it, become one with it, and that's how you become to grow from your ego level, low level, to a high level by learning. And your ego is therefore limited and temporary, just like human life. That's what it represents, the human part of you. And it's what? Expressions is limited and temporary, but expressions of the soul and not the absolute abiding reality. You live it in your made-up world that you manufactured from your own mind. We all do. But in the end, you're responsible for everything you say and do in your world at Judgment Day. So right here it says, now, this primeval ocean concept was still in the undifferentiated masses of what we call pure consciousness, devoid of thoughts. When you go into the meditative state, you stop your thinking and just let the mind do what it do. And that means you're devoid of thoughts, no thinking, no concepts or ideas. You just clear the mind, free it. It just simply exists. And so therefore, it has the potential to become anything. If you can conceive it, you can put the work in to achieve it. That's why my goal is just to be my best self. That ain't hard to do. That ain't a dream I got to worry about chasing. No, it's right here in my wheelhouse, personally, so to speak. But the original thought waves of our supreme being, the cosmic mind, the all-encompassing, all-conscious, rippled through what we call the primeval ocean, causing it to now assume the appearance of what we call the universe. Despite this appearance, however, the essence of creation still remains the same as it was before creation. What's going on up there been going on since before we got here. And since we've been here, it's still going on. Okay? So, pure consciousness, or what we call undifferentiated matter. Okay? That's the body before it becomes physical. But the supreme being, which we are part of, creates by what? Reflecting, again, his or her thought on the world. And the willpower into what we call the primeval ocean of consciousness. So thereby causing it to now differentiate into different names and forms, different things. So the cosmic mind willed for the life forms to exist, and among these human beings came into existence. Again, human existence is special. Why? Because human beings possess what we call the nervous system, the two trees. One, the tree of life, one, the tree of good and evil, aka knowledge. One of them are the cardiovascular system, and the other one is the nervous system. The nervous system connects to the mind. The serpent, it connects to the nervous system. And when you hear seven layers, the seven seals, it's always seven days a week, 7 colors. Again, that's an important mystical number. All right, but which the nervous system, and which can be what potentially reflect cosmic consciousness in its full state. To understand God, you need to experience Him and have an understanding for yourself. However, the human mind, there you go, your conscious mind, is a limited mind. Why? In its ability to be able to process information gathered through the senses, which means what you can see, what you can smell, what you can hear, what you can touch, and what you can taste is all the way you communicate with your brain from the physical body. And it's conditioning, and the senses are also limited, again, as we discussed previously. Okay? So therefore, the human being only reflects a small portion of the cosmic being, and unless enlightened, here we go, you have to study to show yourself approved. Why? That's how you get knowledge of self. And unless it's enlightened, it is not aware of the ocean of existence, aka itself, as which he or she is a part of. If you don't know you and God are one, you don't know Jack. A lot of people don't know Jack. I'm just trying to help you know thyself, aka Jack. All right. But the problem lies with the conditioning of the human mind. We are taught from the age from 1 to 7 that shapes our ego self, that shapes our personal self, and you're a part of the environment in which you've been circled around for 7 years, and that's who you are until you change it. Okay, and that's the idea. You have to change what yourself. Why? The environment you brought in may not raised up in may not be conducive for you to be your best self. So you might have to make some wholesale changes within yourself to what? Know yourself. Therefore, this solution lies with the same mind that is ignorant. For this reason, the teaching, there we go, this where I'm at, the teaching of the mind is both the cause and the bondage of source or release from the world of time and space was developed. If you're ignorant, you ain't using your mind. If you're enlightened, you work and study and you're bettering yourself. That's what right thinkers are. In a human being who, if in a human being who is unaware, unenlightened, ignorant of him or herself, of their divine nature, this state of mind is known as, you ready? Ignorance. I know that, and everybody in philosophy says the same thing about that. When you don't know who you are ignorant. And watch this. This state of ignorance causes you, the individual, to now bond to your sufferings of human existence, even though in reality you are deep down connected to the supreme, all-powerful divine self, aka God. You just don't know it. As teachers, sages, and instructors, our job is to get you to know you by teaching you and giving information you need to make that happen for yourself, aka instructions. So therefore, the state of being is also referred to as bondage. Why? The mind is still bound to what? Ignorance. It don't know things that it needs to know for it can expand itself and become conscious of itself. So your soul, which is unaware of its divine nature, now associates itself with what? With the ego self, with the ideas of the mind, and thereby believes itself to be what? Limited. I'm just human. I'm a human being who originated at a particular point in history when their mother and father got together, who will cease once you're born into the world. You come here as a player, and you will cease to exist at a certain point in time in the future, aka death. The teachings and the daily practices of what we know to be yoga and right thinking philosophy is the practice of yoga also. And your mystical religion are designed to help dispel the ignorance. Hello, my job to get you to enlightenment of yourself. That dispels what? The unenlightenment of yourself, the ignorance of self. My job to get you from ignorance to enlightenment. That's the transformation I'm trying to get you to have. And that's spiritual alchemy. Okay? But from which your soul suffers. Due to your ignorance, due to your desires, you will continue to suffer because what you desire is going to bring on suffering due to your own ignorance. So thereby helping it to what? Helping your mind to regain the knowledge and to have the experience of your true nature, which is what? Immortality, eternal, and infinite. When you become conscious of yourself and become one with God, that's who immortal and infinite. That's where you want to go back to and be part of that group. Okay? One more. I'll get one more in. Now, each human mind, if we got 9 billion people on earth, each human mind is 9 billion ways to contact God, to get to know God. Every individual has that right. That's still called inalienable right to know thyself, which is God. And every human being is equipped to do just that. The human mind is like a ray of consciousness that's emitting from what? The cosmic mind, aka God. Excuse me. The mind may be understood as a bundle of thoughts. Yeah, your job is to figure it out. And thoughts are what? Movements or vibrations. And consciousness, much like sound, is set for movement or vibrations. But in the unenlightened state of mind, it is beset by thoughts and vibrations that will prevent it from knowing itself. Why? Due to ignorance of itself. And it will not know itself as being connected to the vast ocean of consciousness, aka one with God. He think he by himself. When it's over, it's over. Nothing else. Nobody ever came back to and go blah 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 blah. Those are ignorant ones, and they deserve to die. Moving on. It is like a calm lake into which what stones have been tossed. So when you hit the water, the ripples of the water, you can't really see it. It ain't still. And just as the stones cause agitation, the ripples in the lake, and stir up sediment, which in turn will block the view from the surface to the bottom. A lot of stuff is going on in the water. You can't see the bottom. When everything's sediment set, everything calm down, you can see straight through and see to the bottom of the lake. But these thoughts And negative vibration and agitation of the mind is the lake of what? Consciousness of one's mind. It is what blocks the view of your divine self. You can't see yourself because you got so much nonsense going on. You're blind. You can't see. You need to open your third eye like me. All right. But you can't see your divine self, which is truly your deepest essence, your true self. But because you're ignorant, you won't know that. Nobody's fault but yours. You can't blame nobody for you not knowing yourself. Taking it home. This is it. So they confuse what? The human mind and causes it to now what? Believe. We have a whole system of religion based on believe itself to be separate and distinct individuals. Me. That's the ego self. That's what the ego says. Me. I got one more paragraph right here. And then what? The individual. So now, due to the feeling of individuality and ignorance, the mind now expresses the plagues of what? Egoism. In the form of what? Fear. False evidence appearing real. Anxiety, worrying about something that haven't happened yet. Frustration, not getting what you want. Desires that you can't fulfill. Sorrow that comes from not getting desires fulfilled. And disappointment because what you want ain't happening. I can keep going on, but that's the thing that ignorant people will suffer through of their own hands. If it were possible to end misunderstanding of the mind and to calm the vibrations which result from its constant wants, needs, and desires, most people would discover themselves to be what? Not only an individual with personality, but also reflections of the cosmic self, aka God. Knowing you one with God sets a whole different mindset. And this would end what? The sense of individuality, and it will enable you to have your expressions of that individual consciousness raised to the level of what? Godliness. And ultimately leading to the discovery of the Supreme Self, which is you, thyself. Thyself is the Supreme Self. The individual would discover his or her identity, the true identity, not as a limited individual personality, me, I. No, I am God. And you now, the individual, you would discover his or her own individually, not the limited, but as a immortal, transcendental expression with the divine. When the physical body runs out, I'm going home. Why? I know who I am. So my head is on my spirit, aka the ba. The ba needs to put your head, become conscious. It's already got the spirit. It needs consciousness. Heart, mind, coherence sends the ba home. And the individual. Now you would see through the illusions and delusions of your individual human personality, and all that exists is a part of the divine self. You and God are one. This theme of self-discovery, a lot of people call it self-discovery in the modern time. Yes, self-discovery, okay. But it is the underlying meaning of our ancient Egyptians' teachings, wherein you, the initiate, discovers his or her oneness with the universe in the book of coming forth by day. It was teaching you what? I am yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I have the power to be born a second time. I am the source from which the gods arise. That's God's message from my ancient Egyptians. We had that concept a long time ago. My man, the little blue book over there, he got the modern view. I got the ancient view. I'll be back with some more. The elements of human consciousness and your personality. Should be some good stuff. I'll be right back. And in closing, right thinkers, may you all live to get 100. Me, 100 minus a day. So I never know that my right thinkers who now understand the mind and its origins have passed away. This is good stuff here. We're back. Right thinking philosophy.